It is Friday. I've had a long week, and I want to kick off my weekend by a great cathartic burst. We're going to do a Friday release valve where we explore the week's underserved and oftentimes funny headlines. And I'll warn you, a couple of the headlines we're going to go over today do involve anatomical sculptures in them. And so if the topic of anatomical sculptures is something you don't want to breach with your children who are riding in the car with you, then go ahead and just kick them out of the car right now and have them get an Uber. But I have warned you, and I will also warn you about the hilarity of my two guests today, Justin Robert Young and Brian Brushwood. Welcome on the show, gentlemen.
Justin, I feel betrayed. I was specifically told that we were being brought in as thought leaders for our insights on heavy-duty, hardcore political stuff.
You know, it's funny because with Heaton, I don't know whether or not Heaton represents the only person for whom I have to wonder whether I'm playing Night Attack Justin or PX3 Justin. So I think like now we are doing Night Attack Justin now. So it'll mostly just be jokes about penises.
Yes, I was about to say, you guys are both thought leaders. However, we're mostly going to just talk. You're thought leaders discussing things like kangaroo boxing matches and whatever Florida's got up to.
We're thought leaders, but it's spelled THOT. We're those kind of thought leaders.
Yes,
thought leaders.
Yes.
Welcome to my seminar. I'm going to teach you how to be a man because I'm a thought leader.
And actually, hold on. Let me look up this first headline because it got cut off on the sheet that I printed out. It's from Denmark. And the first story is Copenhagen's Little Mermaid statue branded racist fish in graffiti. So if you've not been to Copenhagen, this is in Denmark. Hans Christian Andersen is from there. And there's a statue of the Little Mermaid in the harbor. And somebody wrote racist fish on it in spray paint. And apparently this is an ongoing problem where protesters have cut the head off at one point. They cut off the arm. The Danish government has to keep finding these limbs from the Little Mermaid statue and attaching them back on. So spray paint's actually pretty minimal. And I'm reading this and I'm just going, do people just hate statues? Is it are statues the problem? Because I don't know how the Little Mermaid's a racist fish.
Okay, so number one, it very clearly culturally over there, that's become like the bulletin board of choice, right? If you want to make a statement, do it there at that thing for whatever reason. But can we talk about how she's definitely a racist fish? I mean, it's like say what you will about humans, but we don't eat other races of humans. like maybe we slight each other, maybe we have bad policy, bad laws or whatever, but them fish, man, they pick a team and they stick with it and they eat the other fish.
We're on half topless woman, half mackerel, and we eat trout, by God.
Yeah, what do you think she's eating down at the bottom of the ocean? Fish. Fish.
Yeah.
And she ain't eating human corpses laying around there.
Imagine that though. A bunch of mermaids have found that one part where the mob keeps dumping witnesses into the harbor, and they're like, it's back. More prime meat for us, fellow mermaids.
CNN exclusive. Thousands of concrete shoes found missing the attached bodies. Also, it's called the Golden Corral down under.
Can I just start a conversation though? I'm sure Heaton, when you were still in LA, you probably saw a lot, although everything kind of popped off after you left. But
I was the only thing holding that city together.
Yeah.
I was the pin on the grenade, and when I left, man, I apologize for anybody listening from there.
LA used to be a very perilous Jenga tower, and then Heaton removed himself, and now it is but a puddle of blocks.
Right.
There's a lot of graffiti around Oakland. Some of it beautiful, amazing. Others, a little off kilter, maybe a little bad. We'll start with the bad. Gigantic spray paint on one of the big areas around Lake Merritt here where I live. In the future, there are black people.
This graffiti confuses me.
Are you asking? Okay, pause. Just soak in the awkwardness of this moment because Heaton doesn't know. Is he supposed to answer for this crime?
No, this is the point. I felt like somebody had an idea, and then maybe the edible kicked in halfway through, and They just couldn't land the plane. A funny one I've seen.
No, yeah. That what's so weird is that was just so hard to grasp in terms of like, I'm not, yes? Like, because it's not, like, it's I hope so.
And also like on a next level Star Trek kind of level, it's like, wait, shouldn't there not be black or white people, just people? Like, shouldn't we hope that there's just only humans in the future?
Brian found a way to combat there will be black people.
Yeah, there we go. We didn't know there was another side.
Yeah, that was he's pulled the All Lives Matter Star Trek version to try and combat that.
The other one that I very much enjoyed because it is off kilter, very, very large, also around Lake Merritt here in Oakland. Cops don't come. Which I think really is explanatory for, I mean, if big, if true, as they say.
Wait, I immediately have to ask,
how's it
exactly,
spelled?
how is it spelled? Because these are very different statements.
Oh, no, C-U-M. Like,
okay.
This is about a jack. This is about,
Because
really, around.
Yeah, because if it's C-O-M-E, it's like, we wish the cops would come around here. They're never coming here. We can't depend on them. Cops don't come.
Right.
They're backed up and angry. Very different.
Fully loaded in every sense.
Or it could mean they last a very long time and make good husbands. I don't know.
Wow, you are really committed to taking the opposite side of these.
I want to understand.
Well, actually, so Justin, on the note of graffiti in California, or no, you know what? It's not in California. I apologize, but on the note of statues and popping up from Albuquerque. Mystery Jeffrey Epstein statue found in downtown Albuquerque. What confused me about this was that while there's great ire towards this racist fish statue in Denmark, someone was simultaneously erecting a Jeffrey Epstein statue in Albuquerque. Although when I started reading into the story, the person clearly was not a pro-Epstein enthusiast, despite having put the statue in front of this town hall. I'll read. They had a placard with it. I'm going to read the first paragraph of the placard. Jeffrey was an American financier who started as a teacher and worked his way up from a low-level assistant to being one of the top financial advisors in the USA. He had a home in New Mexico, Zorro Ranch. He was also a rapist who died in prison. I was like, well, it's pretty accurate. Like they didn't even get into the murder stuff. They left. They just had the facts there. Like it's all very factually based.
Do you think that's the solution to the Confederate statue problem? Is just update the plaques and just add the words also super racist who own slaves.
Yes. So my theory is I think this is actually really, really clever because it's somebody that doesn't like Jeffrey Epstein and probably doesn't like Confederate statues. And my guess is what they were doing was they were basically going, hey, we just made the statue of a historical figure. Do you want to take him down or not? And so they're kind of forcing the hand with the local government. That's my guess.
It kind of reminded me. So you saw the video that went viral because Trump tweeted it of the villages, the retirement community.
Oh yeah,
in Florida.
And like one of the old guys shouted "White Power." White power as he drove away on a golf cart.
It was a golf cart parade for Trump. So it was all Trump support. If you're not familiar with the Villages, the largest retirement community in the country. It's over 100,000 people. They have their own town. They are very important to Florida politics because they're all old and they vote. Mm-hmm. It is big pro-Trump territory. So they had a little parade, and the liberal members of the Villages, they all call themselves villagers for the record, the liberal villagers were there to yell at the Trump people. And all I could see on both sides was pure joy. They were so excited. The Trump people were so excited to be pro-Trump. The liberal people were so excited to yell profanity at the Trump people. Like this brought back an element of activism and excitement that I'm sure they've been chasing for decades. And that's what I feel like with this guy. He just wants to, like, at a point we've torn down all the statues that exist. So we're going to have to start erecting statues that we can tear down because, I mean, let's be fair. It was fun when they did it to Saddam Hussein's. We just want in.
To go back to Brian, your placard idea, could we just float this here? Find a racist statue of a Confederate general and just rename it to a Union general. And I feel like the people that will be able to actually spot the difference is very minimal. From my perspective, they're all old bearded guys made out of bronze. I don't think I could spot the difference between General Stanton and General McGullicuddy.
I think you might be onto something. We'll call it the Wikipedia defense, where it's like all you got to do is change the placard and allow anybody for $50 to update the placard. And then have them go back and forth. All of it goes into the general coffers, and then the message becomes increasingly nuanced and seems to satisfy both sides because moderators are have their ownership or whatever. I'm like here's a guy. Let's have a discussion about the guy, and then if you're going to argue and fight, let's fight about the discussion, not about the fact that some artist got paid a little bit of government, coin to make a picture of a human. And like, I don't know. I mean, I'm married to an artist, so I don't like seeing any art.
So here I realize this is less funny, but I'll go ahead and throw this out. I don't have a problem taking down statues of Confederate generals made in the 1970s, because I think those were just straight up like black people know your place statues. But like when it comes to statues from like the 1880s and things like that I think actually are historical and have historical weight, I don't think they should be destroyed, but I think you could relocate them. So like when I was doing stand up here in Taiwan, because I don't think you should destroy history, by the way. But when I was doing stand up in Taiwan here a couple of years ago, their super big leader is Chiang Kai-shek, right? And Chiang Kai-shek, good in that he wasn't commie, insane Maoist Chairman Mao, but also bad because he was kind of a fascist. Like he wasn't as bad as Mao, but he wasn't great. And one of the things he did was he required every single town in Taiwan to have a statue of him. So there are hundreds and hundreds of statues of this guy. And when he died, they were like, we don't know that we want these statues anymore. So what they did was they were like, if you don't want your statue, we're just going to put him in this one big park. Like you don't have to keep your statue in your park. And you can go to this park and it's amazing because he looks like Patrick Stewart. So when you go there, it looks like you're in this giant Patrick Stewart statuary park with varying sizes of Patrick Stewart.
I want to say it's in Poland. It's somewhere in the Eastern Bloc. They rather than
the Vader statues.
Yes,
the Vader statues.
Explain this.
Oh, I think this is great. There's this artist, this rogue artist with like a blowtorch and pieces of scrap metal, and he doesn't like Vladimir Lenin. So when he encounters Vladimir Lenin statues in the Eastern Bloc, he will affix gloves, a cape, and a Darth Vader helmet to make a giant statue of Darth Vader. Which I'm going to say
that's the way to do it, man.
All ethics aside, I am such a science fiction fan, Star Wars fan, and I enjoy the humor of it that I don't think you could ruin a statue by turning it into Vader that would piss me off. I would literally find that funny for any statue.
Let me give you the legitimate case for this, which is, I mean, whether you like it or hate it, it's definitely history, right? And, what does it matter? In 100 years, we'll all be dead. 1,000 years, 2,000 years, 10,000 years. I would rather have it be like a pyramid where you peel off the layers of a statue to uncover what people thought at earlier
layers
times.
Of sediment.
Yes, exactly.
No, I really like that. So maybe what 1 year we're like, guys, 2022, we're all putting bumper stickers on statues. Like that's what we're doing. The next year, we're going to spackle that thing up. We're going to turn it into a new statue.
Yep.
And then eventually we'll have these giant like Buddhas.
Yep.
I wonder in the age of crowdfunding if you could legitimately raise the money to just change a statue every few years or so. If maybe the only law that needs to be changed is you are allowed, if you get X amount of money from the town, that you are allowed to just make that statue. It is public art, and you can change it to whatever you want.
I think a really easy way to get rid of all the rancor is anytime we tear down a Confederate statue, you put it in a museum, but you have to put up a statue of Dolly Parton or Danny McBride or some other like awesome Southerner. That way, like the local town is like, hey, you got rid of our cool old racist dude that owned people. And we're like, yes, we did, but we really like Dolly Parton. And so we put up the statue. There's a speaker in her and she sings.
Exactly. Yeah. If you go ahead and squeeze her palm, she sings Jolene.
All right. I'm gonna kick it back to California. Hollywood is banking that a robot named Erica can be the next movie star. So Erica is going to be in a $70 million science fiction film produced by Sam Koza, or Koza, I don't know how you say it. and it's James Bond meets Mission Impossible story with a heart.
Oh my God, that's every pitch. That's every pitch ever uttered in Hollywood.
One of the characters is an android, and so rather than having what we normally do, which is find a starlet to act more stiff, they're going to actually have a very expensive hot robot like a Fembot who will be a character in this. And my initial thought is, one, you don't have to worry about social distancing, so this could catch on. This could be a thing. Two, this seems like even more nails in the coffin of Heaton moving to LA. Like first COVID happens, then they start replacing actors with robots. I feel like there's more and more indications that I picked a bad year.
So here's my question is, where does this quote unquote actor end up after this role? Because you remember I don't know, in the 60s, there was all these robots that always had names, Robbie the Robot or what have you. And then they would keep showing up. Like I remember the freaking top of the line prop for the robot in Forbidden Planet later showed up in Gremlins because they had it laying around and just wanted to use it. And so it's like it may, like they're calling it an actor, but it may actually be an actor that just shows up in a bunch of stuff because they have it now.
Yeah. This is going to be bad, right? We all know this is going to be bad. Because if she's
hold on. Justin, are you questioning the pitch that I read of James Bond meets Mission Impossible with heart?
Look,
how can you possibly think that
which of those three things do you hate? Was it James Bond, Mission Impossible, or Heart?
Or Heart. We all know that she ended up in this position, after whatever happens on the casting server. And
well, we all wish this robot luck and hope that she has a wonderful career. Yeah,
I would rather look. Brian and I don't know if we've ever played the game with you on, but on Night Attack, we have one of our favorite games is the Would You Rather bot. It's a Twitter account that sadly lately has gone dark, but used to be like multiple times a day would have AI generated would you rathers that were like designed to split the vote as much as possible. I would be more excited for the would you rather bot to be cast in a Mission Impossible meets James Bond story with heart than I would whatever this abomination is.
Oh my God, the would you rather bot, like he's the one in the van with the headset on playing, and he's just like, I need to get to the diamond. He's like, okay, would you rather have sex with 75 chickens or go through this river of human feces?
I like
because both will get you there.
Yeah, this then like basically turns the Mission Impossible franchise into Whose Line Is It Anyway? Plus like a college party around 2 a.m. I think it's a great idea.
Yeah. Also, like on the serious tip, I believe there's kind of a precedent of this. I don't know the character's name, but there's like a Japanese model animated CGI character that's sort of open source. Anybody can use her. So she kind of is a famous actor character because anybody can play with her and do whatever they want.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And if there's one thing that we know about the Japanese is that will certainly remain wholesome.
Yes, I'm sure that CGI character. Yes.
Oh,
all right. To upstate New York, man fights to keep wooden penis sculpture on his front lawn. So this is there's more depth to the story than you might think. It is not the headline. If you merely looked at the headline, you would be forgiven in thinking that this was a guy that just really wanted to put up a penis sculpture, dare I say erect a penis sculpture in his front lawn. It's not that. It's this guy's a carpenter. He wanted to open up
the Confederate penis. I understand. That's the real problem.
Jefferson Davis's penis.
It's Jefferson Davis's penis. Yes, it's the Robert E. Lee cock. He's a woodworker, and he wanted to build a workshop in his town, and the town denied him a permit. And he went, okay. And so he made being a woodworker unpermitted to have a workshop, built a giant erect wooden penis as a kind of just gilded fuck you to the municipal government. And they're trying to pull it down. They're trying to get rid of it. And I've got my thoughts on how this is going to go, but I think what everybody's wanting to know is if this is abolished, Brian, can we put this in your compound? Is this something that can grace the Brushwood compound?
I mean, first of all, First question, how graphic? How many veins?
Yeah.
Not very good. I'm going to say it's more symbolic looking. It's not like, I'm going to say, like, I don't know kids super well, but I feel like a child under 10 may not even realize what's going on. They'd be like, oh, it's a log and some bolts.
It looks more like a Randy canoe.
He's not wrong. It does. It looks like a Randy canoe.
So here's his mistake is what he should have done is if he's a woodworker, he should have made it out of a currently living tree. So imagine a tree, you sculpt that trunk very graphically into a penis, a tumescent member, just very clear. But it's also a living tree. So whoever wants to die on that hill, go ahead, make the case. You want to kill this tree. Why do you want to do that again?
That's a good defense.
Plus also you can sculpt it just right where it looks like all the foliage coming out the top. And
no, there's lots of things. Then it would just be interesting to see that, you know, like if it ever got diseases.
And then you etch in cops
disease.
Don't do this. And then
and you'd also have to clear the brush like a real penis. You know, like it would actually, that's educational. It would be, you know, for all the kids, they would understand.
Right? You don't want it to get termites. You want to be careful about it.
I can't believe it took this long for me to make this case, Brian Brushwood, that this is the art to become Brushwood. You said never mind.
Oh,
doesn't matter.
This might be the first actual penis joke we've had on the program. I've been pretty good about forswearing penis jokes. Like we're a year in.
Sorry,
folks.
foreskinning one.
Oh, and right there, I resume my hard stance against scatological humor. And thank you, Brian.
I will say, when I first heard of this story, it reminded me of a local fight that wound up going to court, and that was Al Goldstein, the pornographer of Screw magazine, who lived around where I grew up in South Florida.
The journal of record of
the journal, yeah,
of
exactly.
pornography.
The first draft of history, Screw magazine. He wanted to piss off his neighbors because he was an irascible fellow, and he lived next door to the neighbor of his town, Pompano Beach, on the Intercoastal, which is among the richest real estate in South Florida. And so he decided to put on the Intercoastal, facing out to where all the yachts would go by, an 11-foot statue of a middle finger, which he bought at auction from Spin City, of all places. But this became a massive fight between him and his next door neighbor, the mayor, who was not pleased. He was fine living next to a pornographer. He was fine about the all-night parties. But where he drew the line is when he tried to take out his fancy boat, he had to look at a gigantic 11-foot middle finger on the dock.
I think he'd be legal for that. Do you guys follow Popat on Twitter? Do you know Popat?
Sure. Oh yeah. He's great.
Yeah, he's great. He's great. See, his proper name as an attorney and human is Ken White.
Sir Popat.
Sir Popat. Yes, it's Sir Popat Esquire. But Ken White's a really solid constitutional lawyer and First Amendment lawyer, and I had him on the program around Thanksgiving and talked to him about what's legal and not according to indecency laws. And it's actually very well defined in court precedent. So it's not, you can't just go like, hey, we don't like that statue because, you know, it looks like it's like your Lucille Ball statue looks insufficiently Lucille Ballish. That's not going to work, right? Middle finger, I don't think you could do either. It has to specifically be indecent from the community standards regarding scatology, sex, or genitals. So our friend up in upstate New York, I don't think he's going to be able to keep that wooden penis statue. I think that's going to have to be hidden on the Brushwood compound. The middle finger, though, I think that could stick around.
And indeed it did. It survived all challenges, much to mostly because he argued that the community standards of his community, which included him, a known pornographer, was dictating that a middle finger was fine.
Oh man, I hope they televised it. I would love to see that Matt Lockean speech of him rolling and going like, "Members of the jury, I think it speaks for itself that I'm a scumbag. And if I am a pillar of this here community and pay property taxes out the wazoo, then you have to infer scumbag is a part of the makeup of what
I bought this $1.6 million mansion with screw money. Literally screw money.
From Russia. Rogue Russian priest seizes convent with Cossack brigade, sparking public showdown with church. there's a lot to unpack here.
I'm
But
glad you picked the funny stories, man. I just love it. Like, I love a good belly laugh, you know, when you just think about a rogue Russian priest.
You and I both know that he's secretly getting paid under the table because this is a promo for Netflix's new original Warrior Nun. Go ahead, though.
which I would totally want. No, actually, this is my thing. I think that so my degree's in history, and I used to be Eastern Orthodox, so I know a lot about Russian Orthodoxy, and I know a lot about Russian and Serbian history and stuff. And I think what people need to understand, and it will literally the rest of your life when you encounter stories from the Eastern European bloc, it will make sense to you. 80% of authority figures in the Slavic world are Tywin Lannister. That's it. There's these very grim guys that are like no nonsense and willing to burn down stuff. Like I think it's when Serbia converted, if I'm not mistaken, the king like petitioned the Byzantines. He's like, hey, you know what? We're going to get on board with this. We've decided to become Christian. And the Byzantines were like, we're going to pass on this one. And he went, fuck you. And he invaded the Byzantine Empire with an army. And he captured all these bishops and drug them back under threat of death to the Volga or wherever he was. And then he like turned on the peasants. It was like, you all are going to march through this river as they baptize you. Like
okay,
that was
so far we have two
so
towers.
far the laughs have never stopped with this.
No. Okay.
You guys don't
so far we have
history.
two towers erected, one with the headline you read, the other with the backstory you've told. Now comes the man on wire experience. Take us across from the top of one tower to another. Walk us why the two of these make sense together.
Well, okay, so what I'm saying is there's a history of ecclesiastical authority figures going like, get your sword, we're going to make a thing happen. And not even in like the Crusader ways, in this like very angry, like just glowering, we're going to go do this thing. And I'm thinking that he apparently doesn't strike me as a very nice guy. He's a former cop, the priest. He's a former cop that was accused of murder in the 80s, and then he became a priest. He's a huge fan of Joseph Stalin, who killed like a shit ton of bishops and nuns and things.
I say this with all love and affection, but this is my favorite segment I've ever watched. Like it's just you're just digging and it's getting worse, and it's like I'm sadder everywhere. I need something joyful. Can you take us out with one
I swear to God, at some point he's going to step on a rake and hit himself in the face. Like at some point, this is going to pay off. There's going to be a big laugh here.
I just wanted to talk about Serbian history. That's honestly. I was like literally I saw this headline and just went, this reminds me of this cool story of Serbian history. I'm going to use this and regret it. I actually regret this more than the PETA story that we talked about.
I picked a story and it's related to the TurboGrafx 16. I could talk all day long about its 2 8-bit processors, about the failure of Keith Courage and Alpha, whatever. It doesn't matter.
Yes, I apologize to both of you and to all listeners. And I like that this was the line. That we've talked so far. We've talked about racism. We've talked about statues coming down. We talked about Jeffrey Epstein. But I decided to talk about Serbian history, and that was a bridge too far for you two.
Well, look. Well, we all have to explore our boundaries, and at least you know that there are no laughs to be had.
Luckily, we all know that whatever you end on, that's the story people are going to remember. So feeling the joy, ready for the joy.
That brings me to my last headline for today. Researchers find fans of apocalyptic movies may be coping with pandemic better.
God damn it! All right,
no, this is good, man. I've noticed. Have you guys noticed that people who are like generally everything's going to go to shit, like personalities, have been cheerier during this pandemic? Because
I have noticed that.
Like it's odd. Like you would think the people that you would think would be the most apocalyptic are like, oh, cool. Turns out I was right. Every little thing I said, totally right. Every time I didn't touch a door handle, look who's not touching door handles now.
This MRE that I've had for 5.5 years is the most delicious meal I've ever had.
I think you guys are right, but following the wrong track. I think the shorter, the Occam's razor track is the type of person who is a fan of apocalyptic movies in general will be the type of person who's more introverted, who's comfortable staying home, who feels is also the type of person to shrug when they're told, like, oh, I don't have to say no to all of my work buddies when they ask me to go out to that dumb sports bar. So I think that's the real path.
That's
there.
a good one, because that's a weird genre to be a fan of.
Yeah, so we actually talked about this on a prior show that we've done, but like I went on a major zombie kick when the pandemic started happening. I took it like
a lot of zombies.
Yes, I took it as like an art house kick where like I started seeing zombie films from different countries. Like I've seen films from Quebec and Cuba and stuff like that, but I kind of got into it. I don't know that it made me any happier. In fact, I think it made me slightly more paranoid because I remember talking to you guys. Maybe I didn't put this in the episode. I remember the day before I talked to you guys here a couple months back. I was going to sleep and I went to my faucet to get a glass of water and it didn't work. And I was like, no water in the faucet. Went to the bathroom. No water in that faucet. Tried the shower, no water. And within 30 seconds, I had come up with my escape plan of how I was going to get to my car with all of my extra food and Bowie knife and stuff. And then thought to just check Twitter. And it was like, oh no, nothing bad has happened. I literally, there was a moment where I was like, the grid's gone down. It's finally happening to Tulsa. Yeah. And no, it was just like somebody turned off the valve.
I mean, there is some amount of, as much as, I love to very publicly joke about, buying acreage on a natural water spring on the edge of, civilization, and, Monorogue being secretly about us preparing for the apocalypse. Sorry, that's all just public facing jokes. I don't know what I was about to say. Never mind.
Justin, this is so riding on you, my friend. You need to pull out a really good Harvey Weinstein joke.
I mean,
to save the program. This is all riding on you.
The thing about Serbian history that you have to remember.
Here's what I've learned today, guys. I didn't actually eat anything today. And a lot of the time I record these on Tuesday, I feel like I kind of ran out of gas. I feel like I let you guys down. Sorry.
No, what you did is you enlightened us about Uzbekian popes. I thought,
Cossack, stern Cossacks,
die hard in a church.
Here's the upshot I'm finding in my mind here is I feel like a lot of struggling comedians, when they want to reignite their career, just go hard alt-right, and I apparently just slide into history professor. Like I just slide into drunk, just, you know what that reminds me of? Oh, the Mason-Dixon line. Oh, that's a good story. Settle down here, kids.
You may be feeling hungry, but Justin and I now feel very well fed on the rich nutrition of history.
Yes. I'm rubbing my belly intellectually. I'm so full.
Good. Then my mission here is done. Thank you guys for coming on my history podcast and for walking through the many lessons that we've learned. Tell me about where can people find you? You're known commodities, but if someone's new to the program, where can they find you guys?
The internet.
Night Attack. We do a podcast together, a comedy podcast called Night Attack. So go, if you like this, then you'll like it.
Well, guys, thank you so much.
See ya.